Welcome to Insight Quality, where we are committed to bringing you the best tips and advice to help you manage product quality and compliance more effectively. So, 2025 is upon us, and it's likely to be an interesting year, to say the least, with things like the potential for new tariffs and the continued shift of supply chains around the globe. And these things have implications for product quality. And that's why we're talking about them today. Let's bring in Andy Church because he is very experienced in the area of quality management with more than 25 years of experience. And so we're going to ask Andy 5 questions about the coming year. So, what are those questions? Well, the first one is, what is the impact of tariffs on importers? Second, how might tariffs affect quality fade and lead to quality fade in your products? Third, how can you avoid quality fade so that you can, maintain good quality in your products? Fourth, how can you manage a supplier transition more effectively and avoid running into major quality issues? And finally, fifth, what is our most important advice for importers in 2025? So if you like these questions, be sure and click like down below. If you have your own questions, leave them in a comment and we'll be happy to respond. So let's get into it and ask Andy these 5 questions. Let's go.
Tariffs are a new way of life, at least in the United States, for companies to address. And it seems to be, there's a little bit of tit for tat, meaning that if the US is announcing a tariff against Mexico or China or Canada, that the other country is responding in ways that are either retaliatory tariffs or to make it more difficult for trade. So, one thing we do know for certain is that tariffs are at least here to stay in the short term. It's very important to be aware of the cost implications and that tariffs aren't absorbed by the factory or the government or the producing country, but passed along. And so whether that's passed along to the vendor, importer, buyer, ultimately the consumer, or possibly shared if there's enough margin at the producing factory to share some of the burden. So it's going to be really important in 2025 for cost considerations to be at the forefront in both identifying where is the best place to produce your product, but also ensuring that quality in the factory isn't substituting lower cost, poor quality raw components or materials. Well, quality fade is something that happens over time, and it's not like, wow, one day or one week woke up and your supplier is producing bad quality. It could be things gradually. There are issues or defects found in inspections that the importer lets slide, and then next time those are accepted, and there's a little bit more of a slip in the quality. So, how do tariffs impact quality fade? Well, indirectly, a factory may not be absorbing the cost of the tariff, but they're going to get pressure to lower the cost of their item. And so, by reducing the cost of internal training when they have new employees, when they look for lower cost raw materials or components, all those things can contribute to the quality of the good fading over time. It may not be an immediate drop off for a noticeable difference if the quality is reduced of incoming raw material by a small percentage, but if each time and future orders it that increases, then that quality fade is over time going to grow to be very noticeable. And the way that why the factories would do that is because they are getting pressure to reduce their costs. They can't absorb the tariff directly, but they can either maintain or lower the cost of their good. And one way to do that is, cutting costs in every way possible. And one way to ensure that it doesn't become a problem in your manufacturing uh, supply chain and with your suppliers is to have a regularly scheduled audit program, whether that's conducting audits on an annual or every 2 year cycle. It's important to assess your factories on a regular basis to make sure that they're following the processes that they had in place when you first started working with them, to ensure that they are inspecting incoming raw materials, they're doing their inspections in line as they should, they're doing their own pre-shipment inspections. Are they doing testing? Do they have processes in place that they're following that they did when you first began to work with them? That would probably be one of the biggest ways to minimize quality fade becoming an issue with the products that you're importing. When working with a new supplier, there are several steps that can be implemented to minimize the disruption and the storming stage of a new relationship, and that's communication. Ensure that the product quality standards are communicated to your supplier. Do they know that they have to test the product and meet certain standards? And if not, make sure that you provide those and work with them to ensure compliance. But that's the biggest issue that we find working with new suppliers is communication. Second is setting expectations, building in with not only with the factory but your own team. You know, you if you're transitioning the manufacturing of a good from one country to another country, a new supplier in another country, there is always going to be time challenges with delays in sampling, the top of production being inspected or possibly tested to ensure that everything passes your requirements before going into mass production. And then ongoing oversight, making sure that, be it through production management, on more intensive or higher risk items, where a resources in the factory either daily or on a regular basis to manage production issues and quality and manufacturing issues with the factory, or just quality inspections in line and final are implemented. So you know the steps that can be taken are effective communication, understanding the scheduling challenges and timeline when you transition to a new supplier, and having their quality program in place. As we look forward to 2025, and what advice that I would give or the team here at Insight is one is be patient. Looking at the last 4 or 5 years and the challenges in the supply chain that Insight and other service providers, manufacturers, importers, and vendors have gone through, is that the supply chain is resilient. So be patient. There's going to be challenges in pricing and quality and shipping, as there always is. They're going to be, frustrating, but being patient is the best trait in working through the obstacles ahead and knowing that if you plan accordingly, you'll have good product quality in-house on time to sell to your clients.
Thanks for watching. We hope you found this information helpful. So if you did, be sure and like and subscribe. If you have any questions or thoughts of your own, just leave them in a comment down below. And, with Chinese New Year coming up, we think you might be interested in this video about Chinese New Year and its impact on importers. You also might be interested in this video about made in China quality. So check those out and come back soon for more videos. Take care.